And we are live. Hey everyone. Hope you're having a great Thursday.
Hello, Justin.
Hey
It's
Peggy.
Peggy.
Hey.
You recognize my voice.
Yeah.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I am wonderful.
That's great.
Just awesome. Sitting in Tin Can Cove. What's the name of the river that we're on? Oh, I was going to look this up, or I was going
Hey,
to
we
figure this
are
out before I
live.
get jumped on. But anyways, yep, floating on a
Hey
boat in Tin
everyone.
Can Cove in Gatlin, Tennessee.
Nice.
Yes,
Ga
really nice.
Gatlin, Tennessee. I don't recognize that. Where
Gallatin.
Oh, Gallatin. Gallatin.
Is it? But you know what? It's spelled Gattalin. So how can it be Gallatin?
Are you sure it's not
That's
Gallatin?
no. I looked at it. It's Gattalin.
Hmm. Because there's a Gallatin with two L's, and but I've never heard of Gatlin.
Yeah, it's Gatlin.
Where
Yep.
what where is it in Tennessee?
It's over
I don't recognize that.
by.
Where
Hold on, just
Oh,
a second.
Gallatin. Gallatin.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's over by Nashville. It's so it's
Yeah, that must be Gallatin. If you're near Nashville, I don't think there's a Gatlin. It the L's just must look like T's or somebody misspelled it or something.
it must have been then. Anyways, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
Really
it
nice
is.
here.
It is really nice. I've got a really good friend who lives in Gallatin. So I've been there a few
Ah,
times.
okay. Yep.
Well,
No
what
complaints.
you doing over
I'm
there?
sorry.
Just hanging out?
Well, I'm starting my journey.
Nice.
You got that right.
Yeah, I bailed from Michigan. I decluttered my life, and I was, originally I was headed down to Mexico, and then I met Kathy from Ocean Blues Clues, and we're soul sisters. And we connected with, there's a long story behind Kathy's journey, but yeah, Kath lived up in Maryland, and then she had a really horrible falling out with her husband. Like, it could have gone extremely evil. And then Matt, whose boat that we're sitting um, Matt went and rescued her from Maryland on a heartbeat, and it could have turned really bad for her and her daughter and her grandson. So Kath and I connected on Telegram, just like everyone else in my life that I've connected with on Telegram and who have become very dear and near to this journey with me. And nothing's a coincidence.
No,
And here I am. And it feels so real, Justin. It's absolutely amazing.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
what
it
and
really is.
thank you for being such a shining example of the fact that we can create these physical connections. We don't have to
Mhm.
stay behind the keyboard and behind the screen. You're out there doing it, and you've organized meetups, and yeah, you've gone out to meet people. So for anyone out there who feels like, you'd rather have some more physical people in your life, then you gotta do a little work and reach out and
Mhm.
see where people are. But it is very possible. There are lots of us out there and ways to connect. And so yeah. Would you have any like particular tips or anything you could share with people on doing that or stuff you've learned along the way?
Well, yes. When I first connected, well, when I first started to make my connections, it was through the YouTube channels, Wandering Towards Truth and Marie Russell's YouTube channel when we were all connected, like when you all were doing 3, 4, 5 shows a week and just putting the word out in the chats on YouTube and just saying, anyone there from Michigan or from wherever you live, and then just following up with them. It's really important because everyone's on this journey somewhat alone, but of course, everyone wants to make connections with truthers and with those that are on the journey. And it's just being consistent and then making yourself available, and then speaking on chats and getting your voice known and being out there, and not being afraid to speak up on chats that are held on Telegram pages, and just being consistent when you go to events. Talk to people. I had a really great experience when I went to the Clay Clark conference in Grand Rapids, and it's a little lengthy. I can share later at the end, if you want to get your chat started, but it's a really good testimony of, Jesus. It was just one life at a time. It's just sharing truth one life at a time. And we all have embedded truth within us, and it all has to come out, and we all have to be strong and bold and share that truth. And then you will be amazed at where the truth will lead you, and the lives that will open up, and the relationships that will open up from just sharing a little bit of truth. So my journey is just, it's just so fruitful, and it's so real, and it's so alive. With every person that I've met, they're a part of my life, and my list just keeps getting longer and longer and longer, and in a very, very good way. Always in a very good way. So it's been incredible.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, you're so right. It is we do have to sort of take that leap, and whether that's speaking up in a chat or speaking up in person or however, or even starting your own channel and speaking up that way. That these are just different ways to exercise our throat chakra and really and this is such a vital step. This is that leap of faith. This is going up and to the right, because we do have to cross the throat in order to reach the higher realms, the ethereal realms. So we have to clear that throat, and that can be often the most daunting task to take, is speaking the truth, speaking what we want to share, or just even just reaching out and saying, at an event or online, just saying hi, like I'm here. Who are you, and do you want to share? I want to share who I am. Do you want to share who you are? And just really taking that leap is such an important step to do. So thank you for embodying that and sharing that, and showing how to do that, and that it's not so scary once you do it.
No, it definitely is not.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, uh, you're more than welcome to share more, Peggy, if you'd like to. But does anyone else have anything they want to add to that, or anything in addition, or something else we want to get into? Either which way.
Well, I'll go ahead and share
Yeah, go for it.
my Grand Rapids experience.
Yeah.
We went to the conference, and the morning of the second day, I was standing in line at a vendor table, and it happened to be Gene Hu, and he is the personal photographer for Donald Trump. So he was on stage on the day before, on Thursday. So I went over, and I was talking to him and his beautiful family and his wife and his sister. And there was this gentleman to my left, behind me, to my left shoulder, and Gene was signing books and handing them to this man. And it was like 1, 2, 5 of them. So I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And so then I turned around and I got my book, and then I started talking to Jeannie, and the gentleman that bought the books was Ken. So we just started chit chatting, and then we just struck an interest in one another, and I was there with Suzanne, and we ended up going to sit together. So then I think it was I think it was the third day, the morning of the third day. We were talking and sharing, and I could not go into the worship services because I just did not resonate with their worship that they were worship and how they were worshiping. I just didn't feel comfortable with it.
Hmm.
And I explained that to Jeannie, and then Jeannie said something to Ken. So then Ken goes, "Let's go out in the hallway and talk." So I said, "Okay." So we went out in the hallway, and he was sharing his experience with me about him wanting to receive as much information as he could from the conference. And I was like, "Okay." And he goes, "So I decided that I was going to fast for 3 days." And I said, "Oh," I go, "that's really interesting." And then prior to that, talk. So on the way home, I was like, "Oh, I'm just going to connect with Jeannie and Ken and see what's going on. I'll stop by and see them on my way home." So I did just that. And then that visit was like, just we just started talking and sharing, and literally Jeannie was she was actually cleaning out her cupboards and going through her food pantry and just getting rid of food that she didn't want anymore. So, and she came up to Saugatuck on Tuesday, and we taught her how to juice, showed her what we did, explained and shared recipes with her, just gave her some ideas, and she was taking her notes. And it was just one life on a journey with one other person. And then I was sitting there. I turned around and I looked, and it was like really dark outside. And I still had like a 2 hour drive to go. I'm like, "Oh, goodness gracious." So Ken looks at me and he says, "I have a bedroom in my basement." He said, "You're more than welcome to stay there." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." So I went downstairs, went to sleep, got up the next morning, and I was just downstairs, by myself, in the peace and quiet, and just just being within me. And all of a sudden, this thought came over me, like, this is what we're supposed to do, like sharing truth, one life at a time. And I got a bonus because I got to share truth with a husband and a wife who were both waking up at the similar and same time. And they were both starting their journey. And I sat down, I went upstairs and spoke with them we talked for another couple of hours or so. And then I felt like Jesus. And I believe with all my heart that's who we are all. We're all Jesus. We're all on this journey to share truth and to be just like Jesus is and how he taught us and showed us to be. So it was wonderful. It really truly was.
Wow,
So
that's
yeah.
that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's beautiful and it's so true. Because that's what the whole point of the Bible is just to show us what's possible, what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to embody Jesus Christ and be that, Mary Magdalene, Jesus Christ, the Father, or to be the Lord or Lady Christ is essentially what we're here to do, to shine our Christ light. So yeah, well said. Thank you for sharing that. That's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you, Justin. It was a beautiful experience.
Mm, awesome. Yeah, and that's what's possible. Especially when we're just when we're present and we're truly there, we get to witness and be a part of these miracles, and we even get to help be stewards. We become essentially God's stewards, so God can work through us and create these miracles, and then they just happen. Um, and that kind of leads me into one question we had in the chat, which is from Ka Mirt said, "Can you tell me how many times a day I should be meditating, or tell me what your daily schedule looks like?" Um, so I think that that meditative practices can be helpful to sort of recenter and find that stillness if we do find ourselves getting wrapped up in the day to day or everything that's going on. But essentially, meditation is a state of being. It's not a practice where it can be where you sit and you do this and you sit cross-legged and straight spine and all that. Like those are great to do. However, the goal is really to make that presence, because that's all meditation is. It's just being fully present, being fully there in each and every moment. So the goal is to be doing that regardless of what's going on around you. So there could be a storm blowing all around you and chaos, brewing everywhere, and you can still be in that state of just absolute presence to where you're unfazed by the goings on in the out there world. You are in that space of stillness and silence. Um, so my daily schedule for meditation, I don't really do. I mean, sometimes I will have an intentional time where I'll say, you know what, like I feel like I'm spiraling and getting too analytical or jumping into the what ifs. And when I do catch myself doing that, it is a good time to go find that stillness. And so I'll go outside and sit um, and find that stillness. But really, it's just a normal everyday practice and of just being present. And so there's not anything in particular that I do other than to just be observant. So when I'm so if I'm cutting up some pineapple, if I catch myself like slipping off into thinking about the past or the future, I really bring myself back to that present moment and really focus on just looking at my hands, just observing my hands as they move as I cut that pineapple. Really, really observing my breath, like how is my breath, and not trying necessarily to manipulate it or any sort of way or change it, but just observing it. And when we can be in that space of the observer, that's where true presence is found, and that's that true meditative state. So, so yeah, that's kind of my answer when people ask, like, how often do I meditate or what does my meditation look like? It is that. It's just finding that presence in each and every moment. Um, Now there are tools like Charlie's mentioned the monadic circle is a great tool to use to sort of help drop into that state of presence if you are in a more chaotic mental state, which the monadic circle is just the dot enclosed in the larger circle. And you put that up on a wall and you just stare at the center dot and kind of let your gaze go soft. And this is a great tool to help because eventually the outer circle starts to fade away and then the inner dot starts to fade away and then it all fades away and you kind of fade away, which is a great way to to just fully drop into that present moment and be. So that's a helpful tool if anyone wants to use that. But yeah, good question. So that's kind of my response to that. And then when you are present, magical miracles like what Peggy experienced start to happen a lot more regularly. It's this gift. The presence is the present. You know, presence is presence. Um, because that's the gift. That's the only space that God truly exists, and that, I mean, and that's where the magic happens. So the more that we can stay in that state, the better off we are. Um, and anyone on Telegram, feel free to jump in at any point. But otherwise, I'll just keep going with the questions in the chat. So Elizabeth asks, do you think all the corporations are white hat controlled? Um,
Sorry.
hey,
Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead. Was that Barbara?
Oh, yes. Hi. Justin, I just want to say how thankful I am for you and Charlie. And I mean, you literally saved my life with all
Oh,
what you do. And it's you brought this up with negative 48. and I'm listening to him also.
Hmm.
You said something about did he change his Telegram from something different? I guess. Did
Um,
you say that?
w- w- he was, depends on when you're asking when he changed it. They used to do their live chats in a group chat, and then they switched over to a channel. So there's that, but I'm not sure what you're asking otherwise. That was it. That was
Okay, I thought.
last week, or 2 weeks ago, sometime ago.
Oh, I thought it was before. It was something positive 84 or something. No, never mind. It
Oh,
doesn't
well,
matter.
that
It's
yeah, people have been saying, you can call him positive 84 or positive 48, just just for fun. Negative 48 is the name comes from 48 is evil. That the gematria for evil is 48. So he does negative 48 to be the inverse of evil. So that's where that name comes up. And 48 is significant in the Cabal because that's when they split the eight, the eternal eight, into the fours. And that's why I think, what is it, August 4th is when Obama's alleged birthday is, and a lot of evil people are, because that's when the four, they split the eight into the four. It's a ritual, a dark ritual. But then people, yeah, call him positive 48 or positive 84 just for fun because he is positive. He spreads hope. So that's kind of, I,
yeah,
I think that's what you're getting at.
yeah, that's true. That he spreads hope. Yeah.
Hmm.
But anyway, I have to tell you, I'm really feeling good. I have this inner feeling that it's all good the way it is. I don't complain about this anymore. It's like it's just the way it is, and I can accept it
Hmm.
and just go on with my life, do what is good, and be kind. And yeah, I, f- I feel like I'm already living in a parallel world. It's like when you look at the other side, like I was at my brother's birthday. He had his 15th birthday, and I was like, this is nothing for me anymore. I don't fit in at all. It felt really strange. But
Hmm.
I was like looking at it and not judging, just looking at it from another view, and I just could leave it, and yeah, it's their world, and I don't judge them anymore.
Hmm.
So for me, I feel very confident the way everything goes.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, you're totally right. The this reality has already split. It split some time ago, and those of us who are aligned with the truth, we've stayed on the true path, and we've taken that right hand fork. And not everyone has taken that yet, and everyone's still going to have an opportunity to do so. We have an opportunity each and every day to redirect, but many in organized society are still taking that left-hand path, the path towards lies and deceit, and um, that's where the fear dwells and reigns, um, and so that group is larger in quantity right now, but as soon as the truth starts to become that much more apparent, majority of those will switch and take that right hand path. But there are many of us here who have decided to do that and take that path early and to be the leaders and to sort of pave the way on that path. So you have certainly taken that route and are walking that path. So you are in essence living in a completely different reality than those around you who are still in that other realm. Um, which is fascinating to witness for sure. But it's the truth of the matter.
Yeah, what I find fascinating is when you um, I attract other people now, and there are some groups on Telegram, and they connect here around my area, and you meet new people just by going to the store. I don't wear a mask, and then you see somebody else not wearing a mask, and you just go right up and talk to them
Hmm.
because it's so um, everybody's wearing a mask, and then you find someone. And I talked to this lady, and then she was in the same Telegram group where we connected at some place, and we started building groups where one group is teaching, one group is gardening, one group is doing something with teenies, and one group is doing something with retired people. So there are different groups now, and they're connecting, and so you are part of this, and you can do something. And this feels good when you go and connect with people with like-minded people.
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's what yeah
Yeah.
that's what happened in the last time. And I also got connected with a lady from the other side of Austria. She was in the FreakSense German group, and we talk now once a week on
Nice.
phone, and it's very nice to be on the same page. Yeah,
That's great.
thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. And what what amazing work you're doing creating connections like that. Any of us who create a connection, we are fighting in this spiritual war because the whole aim of the cabal and those on that darker side, all they want to do is create as much disconnection as possible, to disconnect us from ourselves, to disconnect us from each other, and disconnect us from God ultimately. So anytime we create a connection, we are performing white magic. We are reversing those dark spells. So nice work, and keep doing that, because it's gonna have a lasting impact, and it's just gonna make this world a brighter and more beautiful place. So thank you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I think God is playing a big part in this too, because
Absolutely.
I go I go out, and I was at the lake, and I was like, oh, I think I know this lady. I walked over, and I knew her from like 10 years ago. Uh, I was in Bali with her in a course, and we started talking, and we just were on the same page. It's like, and this is you attract these people. And I always like, I would start talking to someone at 11:11, or I look at the numbers, and it's really, I love it. I love it.
It's incredible. Yeah, somebody was uh I was listening to, oh yeah, I was listening to the Blue Tent uh live Telegram thing they had last night, and somebody was asking about 11:11 and 22 and 33 and things of this nature, and I didn't get a chance to speak on it just because they had a lot of people on, but just for everyone here, and as Charlie's talked about, 1, 2, and 3 is the Trinity, whereas one's the Father, two's the Mother, and three is the child. So when we see repeating numbers like 11:11 or 2:22 or 3:33, these are just these are nods from with that sort of particular flare of energy to it. So that 11:11, that's God calling, that's God the Father. We're sharing some of his fatherly energy with you, and the fatherly energy is going to be that sort of like firm, very truthful, very resolved and strong strength, and so that's what that number is going to represent. And then the 22 is going to be from the mother. That's that care and compassion, that cultivation, and that's that warm embrace of the Divine Mother. So you can you can experience that when you see those numbers, and then the 33, that's going to be the child. That's essentially you, but it's your higher self. It's Jesus Christ. The it's the sort of playful, creative, but powerful energy that's what we're here to embody, is to become our creative self and to serve mankind. So yeah, those numbers can be very powerful when we see them, and they're just these incredible reminders that we're on the right path, and sometimes we need a little nudge or just a reminder, and that's what these can help signify.
Yeah, yeah. Um, a funny thing was negative 48 is most of the time talking at night, and I get up here in the morning and he's still on the call.
Right.
And today it was like, here it was 9 or 10. I think over there it's about 4 o'clock then at night, or also in the morning.
He goes and
And
goes and
yeah,
goes.
yeah, and I was listening to one thing and I was really surprised, but they talked about that Princess Di, that they took out the kids too. I never thought about that,
Hmm.
that they uh, take out the kids too. So she never left their kid, because some people were concerned about that when
Hmm.
they heard that she's still alive. And yeah, that could pretty much be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's a complicated operation, but I these people who have been John Galted, they did make the ultimate sacrifice, but I don't think that they would leave their children behind. So usually it's a family package when people are John Galted. It's not just the individual, um, but their kids as well, especially for Princess Diana. So yeah, we'll see them come back as well in different ways, and get to hear their story of how it all happened.
Well, do you think this now could go on for years now? We talk now for a year and a half about all this, and what's your opinion on that? I mean, you always say so many people are not awake yet or don't want to wake up. That's the problem, but yeah, they could go on for years.
No, I don't think it's going to go on for years. From now, there's no way that there's too many things that are just just waiting to. I don't know which domino is going to be the first one to make them tumble, but as soon as one falls, they all fall, and it's all going to happen very quickly. So my take, and we shouldn't get tied to dates or timelines or anything like that, but just for fun, I kind of see this next season, this fall, that we've just entered into the fall of man. So I see this season as being a little tumultuous. We're going to be seeing some sort of wild things happen on the global economic, or not, I shouldn't say global, the plain wide economic scale. The financial system's going to collapse. We'll see high level, we'll see the election fraud be exposed. We'll see all of this sort of start to come out, and that's going to be scary for most people, not necessarily for us, but it's going to be scary for most everyday people. And then Trump gave a calm at his rally about Christmas. So I see Christmas as being, and we speculated last year that Christmas was going to be the year, but maybe they were alluding to this year. So again, we shouldn't be held to these dates, and we shouldn't be expecting anything. but there's no way that it can go too much longer. Everything's already been set in motion. The fuse has been lit. It just has to play out in a certain way before we really start to see, people starting to come back. But I see Christmas as being a time where the sort of gifts are shared abundantly, and a lot of hope is restored, and things of that nature. So that's kind of my take. I think these next couple of months are going to be shaky for everyone, especially those who aren't aware or paying attention. And then we'll go through the resurrection and hop into Christmas, and that'll be when we rise once again and sort of rebuild and yeah, just keep going from there. But as far as like, you know, I think people misunderstand or misunderstand that when everything starts in a big way, our work is not far from over. It's really just beginning, because this is when we have to all activate and start to show that care and compassion for our brothers and sisters as we rebuild and sort of continue to remove and alleviate the lies that we've been shared our whole lives. So it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to take a lot of effort, and the more that we um, do the work ahead of time, and that's why everything that we teach around is just about doing the work and growing stronger within yourself, because the more strong we are within ourselves, the more our foundation is built on the truth, our foundation being built on the rock, not the sand. Then we can offer that foundation to others, and help them find their rock and their foundation as well. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, and like you always say, be the lighthouse.
Hmm.
And I stopped saying anything to anybody because I just want to be the lighthouse, and therefore I also want to start juice fasting. Um, 2 weeks I have to work, and I start now with all vegetables, and then um, I want to go into juice fasting when I'm off from work, and I think I can do a good example for my children if I, just do it my way.
Yeah, that's great, and I think it's a powerful experience to go through. You really do give your system a good digestive reset. Um, but I do want to say that, for anyone listening, you don't have to go through juice. It can just be it can be just as, if not even more powerfully healing, to just eat fruit. Just switch to 100% fruit for a period of time, to go on a fruit cleanse. Because when we really do eat our species specific diet, which is the fruit, it allows our body to truly heal and deal with things that it hasn't had time or an effort to be able to handle at any point. So for anyone who's daunted by the idea of juicing for an amount of time, it's much easier to conceptualize, to just eat fruit, and you can do it just that way. Now, juice feasting is great as well. So I won't deter you from doing that, but just wanted to say that you can also eat the fruit. As long as we get to the fruit, everything else falls into place for sure. It truly is the solution.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Justin. Thank you. I
Of
just want
course.
to let somebody else speak, and thanks for your work. I see you at Charlie's.
Yep. Yeah, I'm over at Charlie's. It's
Yeah.
it's much better connection over here, so I'm able to broadcast the camera and do it a little bit more clearly, so it makes it easier.
Will there be a fireside chat?
At some point, we're just kind of waiting for a good time to do that. People around here have been pretty tired at night, so we're waiting for a little bit of boost of energy to be able to do that and give abundantly. So we're just playing it by ear, but as soon as we do, we'll be sure to let everybody know.
Yeah, it's I'm very tired here too. Yes,
Hmm.
I understand. I
Yes.
know. All right, thank you, Justin.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Barbara. Feel free to chime back in if you'd like to. Um, but And if anyone else has anything, feel free to chime in. Otherwise, I'll move over to the chat for some questions. We've got some there.
While you're reading the questions, Justin, I just wanted to share that recently, when we get the Mike Lindell and the Donald Trump text messages from 88022, I'm sure several others, but recently we started to do gematria
Mm,
on some of the statements within those text messages. And there's hidden messages in those text messages.
nice.
They're not, yeah, really, really nice. They're not just asking for donations. There are reasons. And if you gematria any of those, you will definitely, definitely get the gist of what is actually really happening. And it's really nice. It's really awesome. It's really inspiring. I mean, it just gets you really excited, because if when you know,
Mm,
and then when you're putting the pieces together and you gematria something immediately when you get that, and then if you know what's going on, it's just so much confirmation.
yeah, beautiful. And if you have any recent ones that you want to pull up, uh, we would love to hear them. Otherwise, maybe at some point you can post some decodes in the JC family chat.
I will.
If
There
you think
were
about
there
it.
were two of them. Yeah, I will. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, you're
There
good.
were two of them that I did yesterday, and I'll post those in the chat today.
Beautiful.
And then I was sitting, and I'll post the cross that I saw in the sky last night, literally a cross, and we took a picture of it, and then we gematried one of Donald Trump's text messages, and we were elated. It
Hmm.
was like it was amazing. And then I don't know what they are, but they appear to be starships in the skies.
Hmm.
And they're not stars. And they're beautiful. They're just absolutely beautiful. And they're all around us every night. There's at least three, four, or six of them. They're just everywhere in the night sky. And we're just in this large little cove. Yeah, so it's just been a really beautiful, enlightening experience.
Amazing. That's great.
It truly is. Yeah, it really is.
All right. So Elizabeth asked, do you think all the corporations are white hat controlled? So no, no, I don't at all. I think that it's like how Charlie's put it, they cut off the head of the Hydra to start. So they started at the top and then they've just been working their way down. So I think the vast majority of the corporations that have been involved with the really nefarious deeds and trafficking and all these other sorts of things, I think that they are very much under wraps and white hat controlled. Um, but you've got a lot. I mean, we've got so many corporations. The whole system is just built on like just fuckery, just to put it bluntly. It's built on this corruption and it's this dog eat dog where, money rules, and so it drives people to do all these horrible things. And a corporation is just a way for someone to not take responsibility for their actions because they're like, oh, well, I'm just doing it for the company. I'm just doing it to make money. I'm just doing it whatever. And you can justify any actions and reduce your sense of morals based on this idea. So no, I don't think they're all 100% white hat controlled because that's just too much. So a lot of these events that the white hats have done have been designed to get the rats to come out of their holes and to commit crimes. So each of these events that plays out, it's just another chance for these demons to kind of expose themselves at the lower levels. But the upper levels have certainly all been controlled, taken out and taken care of. But it's a process, and as this truth comes out, more so. And as the real sort of chaos begins, I'm sure we're going to see that dividing line even more, and these corporations are going to show their true colors, and there are going to be very few that remain when it's all said and done because, like I said, the whole system is just built on corruption. Robin Hetzler says, "What do the Freakville dogs and cats eat?" Um, the dogs eat a mixture of beans and rice and um, vegetable and fruit puree. And so that's kind of all mixed together, just various types of beans, lentils, rice, and um, oatmeal, I think sometimes too. And then the vegetable and fruit puree mixed in there. Um, and they love that. Um, it's not ideal for dogs, but they do that just because there's so many. They couldn't. Ideally, they'd love to get them all in just fruit. And when we have all of our trees growing and fruit in abundance, because eventually when you have enough fruit trees, you have more fruit than you know what to do with. And when that happens, I imagine the dogs will be just on fruits and vegetables that are growing straight out of where we live. But until we get to that point, that's what they're eating. And the cats, they eat. I think they're always offered that same food. Some of them really like beans. Some of them uh, don't, but they do. Cats are meat eaters, unfortunately, and it's difficult to, because even if you didn't feed them a meat diet, they still go out and they hunt and they kill things and they eat stuff that way. So I think the younger cats, they do give them some tuna and um, some cream, um, uh, but they try and give them as much of the non-meat stuff as possible. But it's kind of the just a part of the cat. If you don't want to deal with that to have a cat, then you shouldn't have a cat. And I think we'll eventually get, I think, I don't know, but yeah, that's kind of that's where they are now. So that's the answer to that question. Um, Kamir asks, what do they mean when they say the end won't be for everyone? So Q has alluded to that 4 to 6% won't make it. And these are negative 48's talked about how this is the 1% psychopaths and the 3 to 5% Satan worshippers who worship them, and that way of being, they're too far gone. They are too far lost. Their souls have chosen so vehemently, so decidedly that even when the truth is right there in front of their face, they will fight it tooth and nail until their very end. So that's what Q was saying when the end won't be for everyone, because there are some who just cannot change. They which is what is alluded to in the Bible as far as harvest, the separating the wheat from the chaff. Like there are some who unfortunately have chosen, and it's just and fair, but they will be burned away. And um, so that's what that means. But vast majority of the people, vast majority of everyone will choose the right hand path and will choose the truth. It might take some time for a lot. Some people will be very stubborn. It might take months or years for people to even come around to it. Not us who are listening here, but for those who are stubborn, it might take some time to shift. But um, vast majority of people will shift. And again, anyone in Telegram, feel free to chime in. Otherwise, I'll just keep reading off the chat. Um, Christoph A says, I'm hearing a lot of contradicting information at the moment regarding space and Palladians. What is the truth about out of this world beings? So uh, I'd say the vast majority of it is all bullshit. Like, it's just to put it bluntly, like the whole alien thing was pushed as this idea. It's just another continuation of this idea that we need a savior to come save us. So we are powerless to do it ourselves, and we have to have these Palladians or whoever else to come save us. Um, and then the alternative is the fear pushing divide of, there are these reptilians out there that are going to eat us and we're powerless against them. Both of which are outright lies and just designed to take us out of who we are, take us away from the fact that we are children of God and that we are not only powerful enough, but we are responsible to make the change here on this plane. And so I I don't know what exists outside of the firmament. I don't know what exists outside of this plane that we exist on. But the firmament is absolute. It is firm and it is impossible. It is impenetrable. It is containing of this experience that we are all having, and nothing can penetrate it because if if anything could, if people could fly in on spaceships and take people up and change how things were, or even just interact with it on a regular basis, it would damage the whole point of what we're here to do, which is to rise, where we're here to experience this reality and to go through this hero's journey. So if there were always these threats of asteroids or spaceships or aliens coming in and doing whatever else, then what would be the point of doing all this if it could just be thwarted at any moment? So when people believe that to be true, it's like you're saying that God is really sloppy in how he operates and how he's created this, which is not the truth. The truth is this is a very, very calculated, precise experiment, and not an experiment where we're just, these pawns in this experiment. We designed this experiment to play a part in, and it is perfectly, and it's isolated, and it has to be this way. So anytime anyone's pushing this idea that they're some out there, out of world beings that can control or manipulate or save or harm or any of that, like, it's all bullshit. It's now, that's not to say that you can't communicate with higher realms of consciousness, which is all you. It's not. It's no different. It's just connecting with God and different flavors of God. Different levels of God. You can connect with all of these layers at any time, and that's when you truly do go within. But it's not going out there. It's going within. It's connecting using this portal that we have here to connect with the all. And so I have no doubt that when people communicate with these beings, they're not telling lies necessarily. They're connecting with higher versions of themselves, higher versions of consciousness, higher versions that we can all connect to. Um, so it's real in a sense, but as soon as you start to separate yourself from that experience and say that this thing can come save me or this thing's going to harm me or whatever else, then that's pushing the lie. And it's the same lie that the church pushed with the whole Jesus is God, and Jesus has to save you, and you're a worthless sinner, but you have to idolize this idea of Jesus Christ instead of recognizing that Jesus Christ is the embodiment of you and your higher self, and that's what we're supposed to be. So as soon as you create that separation, you're fooled. You're fooled into believing this idolatry, which is creating this disconnect, and this disconnect from between you and God. And so the whole alien thing is the same exact story, same exact way, just packaged in a different flavor, and sold in a different way, just to allure different people into it and sell them the same lie. So that's kind of my take on that. And I know that Negative 48 and that crew, some people they have on and whatever else, they talk about this kind of stuff sometimes. And it's hard to say like what the whole, because like negative 48 specifically, he doesn't really get into this idea that it's a separate than entity, but he doesn't really specify it too much. And so we have to remember that the collective like population might not be ready to let go of that particular aspect. So everything's coming out in an orderly fashion. It's being done on a script, and he's alluded to the fact that he can't share particular things until things start to come out. So that to me indicates that it's being done on a script in an order, in a particular fashion for a particular reason, because those in the white hats do recognize that things do have to be disseminated a certain way in order to reduce the blowback and get people to accept these truths, as best as possible. Um, Whereas myself and Charlie, who are not tapped into any, not connected to anyone in particular, and how this is playing out, I'm just aligned with the whole truth, and so I'm going to tell the whole truth as far as I see it, to anyone and everyone all the time. I'm not here to disseminate it any particular way. And so we're both playing our roles because they're both needed. We need to have this opposite end of this completely truth-oriented side of the spectrum that is resolved in that no matter what. And then we do need to have a stepping stone to get there as well. So we're each playing our parts. So yeah, that's kind of my take on that. SRS 4859, or no, Tierney McCarver says, who's running the Telegram channels for people like Mel Gibson, Denzel Washington, Keanu Reeves? Is that really them? I, your guess is as good as mine. It could be. My my take is it most likely is. I mean, probably has a team of people helping them. But it most likely is connected to those real people in some way or another, because everyone I've seen seems to be the ones who are the good side of Hollywood, the ones who have stayed true regardless of what's been going on around them. So I think these are channels that are going to be helpful for those who have been asleep, to have people that they, instead of having someone like Charlie Freak sharing the truth, they can go to someone like Keanu Reeves, who they're comfortable with, they know the name, and it'll be a lot more palatable hearing it from them. So this is just a way for that truth to be disseminated by names that people are more comfortable with. So that's kind of where I kind of see the reason behind them doing that. Ron says, did anyone figure out the gematria using Latin longitude coordinates for Mar-a-Lago? No, I did not. Elizabeth asks, I wonder if Jessica got my question. Yep, I did. I answered it. Mona asked, any updates on the injection in terms of harm it's doing? How much is actual versus hearsay? So my take is there is some harm to it, but it's not coming. So Trump has advocated for vaccines. None of these injections are actually vaccines. They're experimental modifying RNA injections that are not even vaccines by definitions. The vaccines are going to be your hydroxychloroquine, your ivermectin, your Regeneron, these kind of things. These are actual vaccines that Trump has used, he's talked about. So everything that he does is comms for those paying attention. And unfortunately, for those who don't pay attention, we all have to experience the repercussions of our actions. And if we choose to ignore the stories of people being harmed by these injections, and people still choose to go get them, well, unfortunately, they have to experience the repercussions of those actions. And there's not really any other way to realize it, and unless you actually experience the harm. And it's sad to say that, it's sad to see that, but we can't get too tied into the fact that death is absolute either. Death is just a part of this process. And um, so even in the most extreme cases where someone forces their child to get an injection and it kills them, well, if that's on a higher purpose, if that's what was needed in that particular moment, if that child on a soul level recognized that they were going to be that martyr and step into this reality and play that role and say, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I will sacrifice myself for for the realization of all, that could be the catalyst for that family and anyone who catches on to that story to be like, well, holy shit, like this is real. This is a real deal. Somebody just died. A kid just died, which is like it's hard to wrap our minds around because we are so rooted into this physical experience, and we do treat death as this we're afraid of death. A lot of us are very afraid of death, and so we put so much emphasis on it, like it's the end all be all when it's not. Um, so yeah, I do think that people are being harmed by these injections. I don't think they're all harmful, and I don't think, but I think everyone is experiencing exactly what they need in every single moment, and that never changes. But this includes the injection aspect too. If someone needs to experience that side of it, if someone needs to balance out their karma in that particular way, then they will. And it's not for us to try and steer and manipulate because we can't get in the way of free will. People have the free will to do what they will and to harm themselves in whatever way. And it's the same as people still choosing to eat, cheese. If you know it, if there's enough information out there that says that animal products are horrible for us, and people turn a blind eye to it and still eat it. I mean, there are people still in this community who still choose to eat these animal products, still willingly are choosing to poison their body. So they will experience the repercussions of them. They will experience the karma tied to that. And it's the same sort of thing, and it all ultimately leads to death. But I can't get in the way of that. I can't change anyone's free will. They are free to choose to do as they like, and just as we always are free to choose to do what we like, and whether that brings us towards life or death. God loves us that much that God would love us to choose the life path. God would love us to choose to come back to Him all the time. But He gave us free will because He doesn't want to force us to love Him. He wants us to want us. He wants us to want to love Him. So we have to want to do that, which means we have to want to love ourselves, and we have to want to stop poisoning ourselves with all these different things. But it's all the same. There's two choices. There's two directions in everything. We have to make that choice and choose which path to walk, and it's each and every moment. It's a continual recommitment to making that righteous choice all the time. So yeah, that's that's that.
So, Justin, with that being said,
Hmm.
and knowing that the white hats know the truth about what Yeshua was teaching us, how do you feel as though what we consume and that industry will fall? Because we know it has to, because it's causing disease,
Hmm.
ailments. I mean, it's basically killing us if we let it.
Hmm.
I think that's going to happen. Do you have any ideas? Have you done any research?
Um, I mean, it's all speculation. Like I don't know what the future holds, and it really all depends on what our reaction to it. What is going to happen is the truth will be revealed about everything, the full truth. So when people learn that the meat industry has been tied with the human trafficking industry, and ground up bits of people carcasses have been put into the meat, along with the violent slaughter of these animals, these sentient beings, and how the fear and the energy is tied into the meat, and what that does to our body and how it kills us, along with everything atrocious about that whole industry, is going to be revealed in the fullest. But people will still get to choose. People will still get to choose, and so it's not about any savior coming in and mandating that everything be taken away and removed, and that people's, because that's counterproductive. If we have people enforcing, trying to enforce their will over another, even if it's got good intentions, it's the wrong choice. So there's not going to be any enforcement by any sort of authority, because authority is an illusion. There should be no authority whatsoever. What we're going to have access to is the truth about it all. And I hope that everyone will make the right choice, and that we will dismantle these things, and that we'll want to, and that will happen quickly and and thoroughly. But I don't know, and it really all depends on how quickly we become activated, and that's why it's so vital that each of us here are doing the work now, so that we can be these examples, be these shining examples, to help motivate and steer in that direction as best as possible. Otherwise, it's going to take a lot longer for us to get to that point. But it's our choice how long it takes for us to get there. I think eventually we'll get away from that entirely. I think it's going to be a continual trend of moving towards the goodly, godly, the righteousness, in every aspect of our society. But as far as how long it takes for us to get there, it's completely up to us.
I guess it's just like the mask mandates. It's up to we, the people, to voice the truth
Hmm.
to everyone
Yep.
by us shining our light, and us being who Jesus created, or who God created us to be. So
Exactly.
thank you for that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Exactly. No problem. Uh, Jay asked, Justin, I'm under the impression activating the pineal, casting your net is all tied into raising our chrism oil or Kundalini. Wouldn't this be our ultimate goal in connecting to God? Um, so I don't think it's not a goal, and the goal is the goal is to be goalless. When as soon as we start having goals, we're sort of like, we can have routes, and I think it's good to we want to be righteous in each and every moment, but as soon as we get too invested into goals, we sort of take ourselves out of the present moment, and we lose sight on what's really real. The goal is to be goalless, to be in that absolute state of presence no matter what. And I think the chrism oil, which is the regeneration, the Kundalini, which is this bliss, they're byproducts. They happen automatically. No one needs to learn any of the specifics about our physiology and how this operates and how to do what and what you have to do, or the time of the month that this can come about. We don't have to learn about all those details. They would just happen if we just got out of our own way and just connected and lived to the fullest, as we're intended to do. It would all happen very naturally. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's an ultimate goal. It's a byproduct of being here. Hey Lisa, did you have something to say? Your mic's on if you weren't intending to. Lisa, you there? Oh, there she goes. Yeah, so that's my take on that. The goal is to be goalless. The goal is to just be present, just to be here.
Hi, Justin.
Hi,
How's it going?
I'm doing well. Laura, how about yourself?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just got my littlest from preschool. so they
Nice.
don't mask him.
Nice. That's awesome.
Right. Yes, we're homeschooling the other two because of the mask mandates. So that has been quite a journey the past few weeks here.
I bet. Yeah.
Really nice.
How's that been
Really
adjusting
great.
to?
Oh, really, really good. Um, I I love the let's see how to explain it. It's giving me a much better purpose than I was feeling before, and control over the messaging that they're getting. It's just night and day difference. So it's been wonderful,
Hmm.
a wonderful thing that we've taken on, and it's been very busy, but like I said, it's very worthwhile. So I'm
Nice.
happy about that.
Nice.
Um, but you were talking again about Kundalini energy, and the last I chimed in a few weeks ago, I had talked about having that Kundalini awakening experience, which
Yeah.
was just delightful. Well, I wanted to continue along that path
Oh,
and
great.
share. You have mentioned um, earlier in your discussion, I've been listening the whole time, or somebody was asking about meditation and such, and I've always felt that I struggled quieting my mind and meditating. Well, I am very excited to say I've found this new group of women that get together for different circle times and do lots of different activities, including yoga, meditations, and breath work. And I've now gone to two breath work sessions with just a very small group of women, and we go really deep into meditation and focus on our breathing. And it's
Nice.
interesting because going into it, when we first talked about what type of breathing we were going to do, it reminded me of Lamaze breathing before I had my babies, and different breath work that they taught you to do.
Hmm.
So it seems kind of silly, but I was, up for a new challenge and seeing what, next level I could get at. And it was amazing. I got very deep in the meditation and had a similar type of experience, Kundalini energy. Um, the, the spine was turning and moving again, and my arms were even kind of moving and getting pulled left to right. And my body was going through hot and cold flashes. I mean, I was like soaking wet with sweat after the session, and uh, it felt so relieving and healing to go through. And it was very odd because it felt like it was maybe 20 minutes and like an hour and 15 minutes had passed, and it was just an awesome experience. So if anybody can ever find somebody who specializes in that type of breath work and help you and feel like safe space um, to experience something like that, I highly recommend it. I mean, I obviously have no idea what other people will experience. Apparently, what I experienced is not anything that they had seen in their small little groups before, but I've had that happen now twice, the same type of experience, but it's never been the same. But I think I've definitely got some deep down rooted like healing to do, and I've just felt so a sigh of relief after these experiences, and like a newfound respect for the meditation, because I just still don't just sit and be still by myself very often, and I need to get better at it. But this I feel like is a really nice way to still my mind with other people who are very qualified to handle this type of experience. If
That's
that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. And I think yeah, if you can find a good group to do that with, I think it's really powerful because then we collectively learn through each of our experiences and can kind of build on each other and um, because there are lots of videos and things out there where you can practice your breathing alone. So if you want to just try it without a group, there's ways to do that. But it's helpful to kind of have that physical reminder and to set that intention and be in that space. So yeah, I think that's amazing and that's incredible that you're experiencing it so powerfully. And To me, that just indicates that God has really some really powerful things lined up for you, sister. So you're doing some incredible work, and it's really, really amazing to witness. So if anyone has any questions for Laura, I think you should reach out to her and see if she's got any other tips or things to do that kind of stuff, or just want to connect. Laura's incredible. I always love connecting with her.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you. But yes, anybody can reach out to me, and anybody in Michigan too, if they're interested in the group that I found. I'm more than happy to share that information. It's just beautiful, beautiful women that are kind of on the same type of path. I think they're gonna start incorporating some events that men definitely can be involved in as well. So it's not just exclusively for women, but it's just nice to kind of just start kind of finding myself again, because other mothers can probably attest to, you kind of lose yourself in motherhood and your identity if you especially to choose to be a stay-at-home parent. And I don't know, I left my career a few years ago in marketing, and my full-time job has been being a wife and a mom, and it's a beautiful, you know, rewarding job most of the time, and obviously the times where you don't feel very rewarded. But I felt that I lost myself throughout the years. My oldest is now 9, and so it's been a beautiful journey. But now I want to find myself again and what my purpose is, and it's certainly not making a bunch of money and caring about the materialistic aspects of life, because that will come, I think, with doing the work. So I'm just so thankful for the community that you guys have put together, and Peggy too. It's been so nice hearing her talk today. We still stay in touch, which is wonderful. So I knew she was going to be on a new adventure on the boat. So I can't wait to hear more stories about that. And I saw Suzanne also in the chat on the Telegram chat today. I met her at the Reawaken America tour in Grand Rapids too a few weeks back, and she's just a beautiful soul that's doing the work too. And it's just so beautiful when you connect with like-minded people that are doing the work and like love God and and are just doing what's right and following your heart, even if it's challenging relationships in your life. That it's definitely been a challenge, and some of my strongest relationships have been really shaken. But I think it's all gonna come out the way it's supposed to in the end. And just this journey is a beautiful, beautiful journey, and I'm just so thankful to be on this side of things and awake to some things, because I think it would be just boring on the other side.
Yeah, it certainly is exciting over here. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That's incredible. Incredible to hear. And feel free to chime in at any point to let us know if you have any more experiences like that. I think it's really encouraging I mean, I know it is for me, but encouraging for everyone to hear about these kind of experiences that we have, because it just shows us what's possible.
Yes, it is. It is a beautiful thing. So I'm happy to share. So I'm gonna chime off now here, and it's so nice that you do these. So thank you, Justin. It's
Of
so
course.
nice to hear from other people and to share some of the things going on in my life. So
Yeah.
bless everybody, and I'll sign off now. So you have a great day, Justin.
Awesome. Thanks, Laura. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Awesome. Yeah, that's amazing. Philip asked, "Hi Justin, I would like to know your thoughts on what Christ said about when 2 or more people gather in my name, I will be there. My question is, what if someone is alone and seeking Christ? Because I agree with what Charlie and yourself teaches, but I don't know anyone in real life who are constantly seeking the truth." So it's not to dissuade anyone from seeking Christ by yourself. It's just to add emphasis that when we gather, when we connect, when we commune, it becomes that much more powerful, because like what Laura was saying, you're able to have those shared experiences, and it grows that much more powerfully. So that to me is just encouraging all of us to not settle for this, for doing it all alone. You know, we shouldn't be the Buddhist monk and go up on the mountaintop and stay away from society and be all up alone. Like, yeah, you can reach a certain level that way, but ultimately, if we want to go higher, we need to become the bodhisattva and to share this experience with our brothers and sisters and to be of service, and to create those connections. Like I said earlier, everything in organized society is designed to disconnect us from ourselves, from each other, and from God. So when we create these connections, we are strengthening God's relationships with ourselves and with each and every one. We are performing that white magic. So that's what to me, that passage in the Bible is alluding to. That's what Jesus is talking about. When two or more gathered in my name, I will be there. Because when we gather with those who are doing the work and love God and on this righteous path, then we become that much more stronger. And it's like a law of exponents, where it just becomes exponentially more powerful. The more it's not just like doubly more powerful when two of us are gathered. It's you know much much more, 10 times more powerful or 20 times more powerful. It's much more tangible in that way. So that's what I get from that one. Yeah, so that's all of the questions I'm seeing in the chat. Does anyone have anything in Telegram they want to jump into?
Can I just follow up with Laura's
Yeah,
testimony?
yeah,
And I think, like Laura had said, like trying to find her purpose and what her purpose is, and society and how we were groomed um, to be better than everyone else by having the best job and going to the best college and having the biggest house. That is so not who we were designed and created to be. And Laura has done just that in reverse. As a young mother with 3 children, now she knows what her purpose is, and it is her children. And that's what we were designed to do, is to take care of our children and take care of the earth, because we are, I mean, Mother Earth has been um, so forgotten, and they took Mother Earth away from us. So, mirror image, I mean, like Laura is just doing the work and she's just being the mom. And I think I believe that, and I know from experience because I homeschooled my daughters. And I will not, I mean, I just received the confirmation of my homeschooling efforts and being the best parent that I could be. And we all make mistakes. And my daughters are 20 and 21. And who they have grown to be through the parent you are, I mean, that is the most gratification you can receive from being the parent who we were designed to be. And we all have to find that in any aspect of our lives. But those of us with young children, and with, just being Mother Earth and taking care of our children, I mean, that's where it's at. It's so simple. I mean, the truth is so simple. Life is so simple. They've complicated everything, and it just doesn't have to be that difficult. It truly, really doesn't have to be that difficult. And so, yeah, I just wanted to close with that and just thank you as well, Justin, for opening up your chats and, giving us the opportunity to hear each other and to learn from each other. And like, love now is more transparent than it ever used to be before, because we now realize how we're programmed, and not programmed, how we're created, because we were programmed. And just being transparent with each other and growing through life experiences with one another. And it's just been like a wonderful journey. And yeah, And Justin, it all began with you and your tribe in the beginning for me, and just so elated and so thankful that I fell into this group and I made these connections with all these wonderful people, and looking forward to more, to much more, and just encouraging everyone to go out and do this and find your tribe, and search out the people in your lives that are truly, nothing is a coincidence. No relationship is a coincidence, and they're all genuine, and we're all put here for a certain reason. So go out and find it. I love you, Justin.
I love you too, Becky. Thank you so much. Mm, that's amazing.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Awesome. Well, does anyone else have anything they want to get into? Any questions, topics, or anything today? If not, I can go ahead and end this one. I'll give a minute or so, see if anyone wants to say anything. Uh, Warren Sled says, "Hey Justin, how do we reconcile things like Space Force or artifacts like elongated skulls that have no occipital ridge?" So the elongated skulls, and it's my take is it's us. It's just us who, like the giants. They've distorted the giants, and they've destroyed any remnants of these giant skeletons that have been found. But you can find plenty of evidence of those. It's us. It's like us in different forms when we go. I mean, we've been here forever. We've been here forever, and we've been here in this rough form forever. But when we're at different levels of consciousness in this form, we do take on slightly varying different shapes, like different sizes, and perhaps different skull shapes and sizes or whatever else too. So I think that's all us, but it's all just distorted a way to make it seem like this alien thing. Um, which I don't buy at all. It just doesn't fit with how this system is designed to be. Um, and Space Force, I mean, that's more alluding to the fact that I mean that's comms. It's comms that they're because they were weaponizing the weather. They were weaponizing and manipulating the weather through the use of different technologies. And so the Space Force is a comm to get that under control and to keep those nefarious forces from manipulating our weather any longer. But it's not space. It's the upper levels of in this in the firmament that you can get, you can fly up to, but it's not space. There's no atmosphere to break out of. Regina Kraus says, Kimplement said Hypnotic November. What do you think that means? Kind of goes back to what I said at the beginning. So we've got Hunt for Red October coming up. And then November is going to be pretty intense as well. So I think what likely what that could allude to is that that's sort of the last dying breath of the mainstream media that's trying to keep the lie going. So maybe they're trying to hypnotize the population that's still listening to them in November as the truth is kind of coming out. I don't know. It could be lots of things, but that's kind of my take on that. Like I said, I think the fall of man, so October, November, and beginning of December is going to be quite tumultuous. It's going to be a bit chaotic, and we're going to see a lot of things happening. It might seem scary it's going to seem scary for those of us for any who are not paying attention to what's been happening. Um, but and then it's all going to come to a head for Merry Christmas. That's kind of my take, but who knows? Don't get tied to dates. Don't expect things. It's just fun to speculate. That's my speculation. Katie asks, what should we be doing during a full moon? Um, so I don't have a lot. I haven't done a ton of research, but I know full moons can be very energetically intense. So I think just doing anything, um, anything to alleviate that intensity, that energetic intensity. So finding a little bit of extra calmness to sort of balance it out, I think is a wise choice. I know animals and things can kind of freak out during the full moon. So I think that's always a good time to find a little bit extra peace and quiet to balance it out. I know the new moon is often a good time for fasting, and starting new things on the new moon. So that's a time to begin new things, and that's when. Um, but that's just kind of rudimentary knowledge. I don't have a lot on that. Paul Reed, Big Dog, what's up, Justin? Hey, Paul. Prophet Elias, hey, hey, brother. Katie says, I'm just starting to learn about a birth chart. I'm Capricorn. Sagittarius was also mentioned. How does the information relate to the full moon? Yeah, I don't have a ton on that myself, but it's a good idea to find a good astrologer and get some more information. I was able to get an astrology reading with Santos. I don't know if he's still doing those, because I know he's been busy, so I won't say for sure you can still get that, but that was really informative to get that done. Yeah, Ron says there's space between Earth and the firmament. Yeah, I mean there's the ether, there's the obviously it's air between different layers of air, different, because that's all gravity is. It's not gravity, it's just relative density. So the higher up you go, the less dense the things are, the air is. So yes, there's that space between, but it's not a space as they sell it. Ken Davis, is there fireside chat tonight? Nope, not tonight. We'll let you know when it's going to be determined. Mona asks, Justin, is there anything planned for us all to become part of a community with you and Charlie and Colleen and do regular Bible education classes? Um, Nothing firm yet. Really, we all just kind of need to wait for things to play out. We're waiting for the financial stuff to kind of play out, for silver to take off, and then we'll have a lot more flexibility in what we do and how we're building things. And so right now it's kind of all on hold. So I don't want to give anyone any uh, to jump the gun on anything like that. But it is absolutely an aspiration, absolutely going to happen. I just can't say exactly how long it's going to take. And but I wouldn't plan on anything this year for certain. Next year will be the beginning of a possibility of that kind of stuff to happen. Um, but yeah, I do want to stress that when we do start opening up um, to having more people come, it is going to be very important that people realize that it this is going to be a no bullshit community. And like, we all have egos for sure, but we've all got, anyone who is here has to be willing to acknowledge their own ego and to be working on it, to be doing the work on a regular basis. So there is going to be quite a bit of vetting to determine, is someone actually doing the work, or are they just all show? Are they just all talk and no actual work? So that's going to be a big aspect to it, like, we can't have anyone who's still consuming death, consuming flesh, because that is harm. That is choosing harm, to harm another sentient being, and it's not gonna fly here. So just wanted to throw that out there for anyone who's thinking about that. It's there is going to need to be a critical look at each and every one of us, and The truth fears no investigation. So if someone is fully aligned with the truth, then they should fear no investigation, fear no scrutiny. But if someone has a problem with having their ego criticized or looked at, then it doesn't mean I don't love you, but it just means that you have more work to do. And I'm not, I can't, no one can do that work for you. And so it just needs some time to spend elsewhere to figure that out. And so yeah, that's how it's going to be. Oh, Mona says, this time is my favorite, a lifeline. Love you, Justin. I'm sincere. You're such a gift. Thanks, Mona. I love you too. Yeah. Yeah, I love doing these, and I think I feel, I don't know, I was resistant to setting a schedule with this, but I think I am going to start doing this regularly on Thursday, and this feels like the right time to do this. So doing a 1 o'clock Central on a Thursday, because then I can come over here to Charlie and Colleen's and use good internet and have some time to be able to do that. Um, and who knows, maybe if I come over here regularly, Charlie or Colleen will chime in every once in a while. That would be fun.
Justin,
Yes.
uh, I would be grateful if it's at this time because then I could join it also. That
Beautiful.
would be
That's
great.
that's good to know. Yeah, I know we've shifted a lot of shows towards a later time, which hasn't been super conducive for the European crowd. So that was another reason of doing it kind of earlier, so that so our brothers and sisters in Europe could join as well. So that's good feedback. Thank you for letting me know that. LaFay Macklin says, "What is the closest town near you?" We're in Miacatlán, Mexico. The closest city is Cuernavaca. That's about an hour away. But this is Miacatlán.
Justin, did you hear about Javan? Is she back in the US?
Siobhan is still in Ireland, as far as I know. Yeah, I'm 99% sure she's still in Ireland. She's been working on trying to get to the States, but has had issues doing so. So she just sees it as God saying that she needs to be there in Ireland. God God works in mysterious ways, and sometimes it's not always the ways that we want to happen, but it's always for the right reasons. It's always for our highest purpose. Yeah, Ken, you said you saw Charlie come in behind you a while back. Yeah, I think the dogs got into some altercation, so he was dealing with that earlier. There's always always stuff going on here. It's wild. Always stuff to do. So every time I come over, I'm always picking up the poop just to give them one less thing to do, and then helping out any which way I can. Um, and then Eugene comes over and he walks just about every single dog, just about every single day, and so I'll help him do that sometimes too. But he is truly selfless in how he serves and helps them out. It's just beautiful. Oh, Regina says, Justin, God bless. You give so much of your time for us. We appreciate it deeply. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I love doing that. I really do. I love connecting, and so happy to do it. It doesn't feel like work to me. It just feels like just getting to hang out with my family, and I love doing that. Okay. Well, if no one else has anything, I'll go ahead and end this one for now. And yeah, so we'll tentatively plan for same time next week on Thursday. I'll make sure to announce it a day ahead of time if I'm confirmed. Um, but yeah, otherwise, I love you all so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you for doing the work and staying true. Stay righteous. Stay calm. Make sure to breathe. as this all unfolds, the more calm we can be, the better we can spread that around to each and every one of us. Um, so yeah, thank you all, and I will talk to you next time. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Bye,
Love you,
Barbara.
brother.
Love you too, Barbara.
Bye.
Bye.